Good morning. Today we'll be talking about chapter number 8 and chapter number 9. Chapter number 8 revolves around the concepts of evolution, and in particular, we talk about Charles Darwin, in which he suggested how those organisms would survive down the living food chain, which have evolved the best of their characteristics and have developed the best of their acquired characters. How now we will have to just cover this briefly because the key thing over here is that you need to understand that an organism only retains those characteristics which are essential for it to survive in its particular habitat. For example, if we take our own example of our human beings, so we know that an appendix is a vestigial organ which has no known use or benefit in the modern times. However, it has been hypothesized that in previous years or perhaps thousands of years ago, the appendix used to have an important function in our daily lives. Now, if we come to chapter number 9, which basically covers a major portion of human biology, we first take a look at the table of contents. Here they have asked us to talk about the carnivorous plants. Now, these are those plants which are basically able to digest animals, and in animals, they are particularly talking about insects. What happens is that a pitcher plant basically has an attractive and vibrant appearance to make the insects or such as bees, honeybees attract to them for pollination. However, once they fall on them or once they attach to them, the pitcher plant suddenly closes and using its digestive enzymes, it is able to break down the insect. Now, secondly, the second most important thing is the osmotic pressure. You need to know all about the process of osmotic pressure, how water travels from the roots to up to the leaves, as well as the concepts of turgidity in plants, how when a plant cell is placed in water, it will not undergo cell lysis. However, an animal cell will undergo cell lysis. This is due to the presence of a cell wall in a plant cell. Now you need to know the important concepts of the xylem and phloem. So you need to know that the xylem is basically a dead tissue. It is composed of lignin, and lignin is a dead tissue. Now, the only function of xylem is to basically transport water and mineral salts from the roots up to the leaves, and its basic function is just to absorb these nutrients. However, phloem, on the other hand, is a living tissue, and in addition to water and mineral salts, it also carries sugar and amino acids up from the root to the leaf, so that they can be utilized in process of photosynthesis. So you need to know the structural differences, you need to know the functional differences between xylem and phloem, and what we will do in the exam is that they will give you a cross section of a diagram, and they will tell you to label, or they will ask you what the labeled parts represent. Is it the xylem or is it a phloem? Now, if you come to part number 4, if we talk about the human heart, you need to know its anatomy, that it is divided into two atriums and two ventricles. The left atrium and left ventricle primarily consist of oxygenated blood, whereas the right atrium and right ventricle consists of deoxygenated blood. Similarly, you need to know the blood vessels which carry blood towards the heart, and likewise the blood vessels which carry blood away from the heart. For example, oxygenated blood basically is distributed from the heart towards the body by the aorta. It is an extremely muscular blood vessel because it has to carry blood in a high pressure flow, whereas veins basically carry deoxygenated blood towards the lungs. Now we covered the human heart. So now in the next phase, you also need about to know about the cardiac cycle. The most important question which they asked is about the lub dub sound. You need to know that the lub dub sound is produced when a complete cardiac cycle is completed. For example, the lub sound is produced in systole. Systole means the contraction of ventricles, whereas the dub sound is produced in the relaxation phase. And also one thing I missed is, and Gerard, I need to tell you about the valves. There are two types of valves, cellular valves and aortic valves. Their main function is to prevent the backflow of blood from the ventricles to the atrium, prevent the mixing of deoxygenated blood and the oxygenated blood. Because if the two mix, there will be cyanosis, and when by cyanosis I mean that the person will turn blue because there won't be enough oxygenated blood in his body. So this represents the overall cardiac cycle. You need to know the especially important is the timing of each cardiac cycle. For example, you need to know that on average, the human heart beats about 70 times per minute, and this isn't a fixed amount based because this varies. The heart rate increases greatly due to during exercise. It can go up to 150 beats per minute, while decreasing up to about 50 to 40 beats per minute during sleep. Now you need to know the functional and anatomical differences between capillaries, arteries, and veins. For example, veins carry deoxygenated blood, arteries carry oxygenated blood, and capillaries basically what they do is that they help in the exchange of blood. I was mentioning to you before as well that capillaries help in the exchange of blood flow, and capillaries have the greatest surface area in the human body. Now you need to know the exceptions as well. That for example, all arteries carry oxygenated blood, and all veins carry deoxygenated blood. However, they will ask you which is the exception. So you need to know that all veins except for the pulmonary vein. The pulmonary vein has oxygenated blood. Now, if we come to the lymphatic system, you need to know that what is the function of the lymphatic system. The lymphatic system is the main transport system by which all the immune cells of the body help to transport from one part to another, and it is even greater than the cardiovascular system. Now you need to know the main components of immune system, and by that I mean the two types of immunity: cell-mediated immunity, humoral immunity. You need to know that the cell-mediated immunity is basically carried out by the CD4 T lymphocytes, and the humoral immunity is carried out by the B lymphocytes. Now you need to know that CD4 lymphocytes are also known as the antigen presenting cells, and as you know to know that the B lymphocytes are basically involved in humoral immunity and the differences between cell mediated and humoral immunity. Now the other key fact thing is you need to know the difference between active and passive immunity. For example, that active immunity is long lasting, it takes longer time to develop. However, passive immunity is fast because you get it by injecting immunoglobulins into a person. For example, a person has been bitten by a dog and he needs anti-rabies immunoglobulin. So you will inject him with both passive immunity as well as the vaccine of rabies. However, since we need antibodies to develop very quickly in him, we will give him anti-rabies serum or immunoglobulin. Now, if we come into the respiratory system, I've already talked about in my previous videos, I've talked about the lungs and all of it in detail. However, you need to know that the function unit of the respiratory system are the alveoli and the further division of the lungs into bronchi, bronchioles, and how inspiration and expiration occur, which muscles contract, which muscles relax. You need to know the mnemonic Rice and Eric. You need to know in which phase the external intercostal muscles contract, and in which case the internal intercostal muscles contract. What is the percentage of oxygen and carbon dioxide in the environment compared to the body, and what is the role of the diaphragm? Now you need to know the role of the surfactant. For example, the role of surfactant in infants is that it prevents the lung from collapsing. It helps to provide large surface area for the gaseous exchange, and if there's less surfactant production, it is also known as respiratory distress syndrome, and it is accompanied by basically what happens is in respiratory distress syndrome is that such infants or babies are especially placed in ICUs and on ventilators, and NICUs, I mean. And what happens is that there is hyaline membrane formation on top of their alveoli as well as necrotic debris over there, so the lungs tend to collapse. So this is the importance of surfactants. Now you need to know the parts of the human digestive system: the stomach, the small intestine, the liver, the gallbladder. You need to know about their function. For example, which enzymes are predominantly present in the stomach and why. For example, um, enzymes, for example, renin is present in the stomach, and other enzymes which prefer an acidic environment. Why are they present in the stomach? This is because of the presence of hydrochloric acid, which is an extremely low pH of 2 and enables such enzymes to basically be present over there. As well as you need to know about the associated structures, for example, the pancreas, the spleen. The pancreas is an important function of producing insulin, and its deficiency causes diabetes. You need to know further about the classification of diabetes. For example, type 1 diabetes is autoimmune diabetes versus type 2 diabetes, and similarly about the spleen. The spleen, you need to know, is a key contributor of immunity in the body, and basically what it does is that it sequesters the red blood cells from inside the body. Thank you. I hope you like the video. I will be covering chapter number 10, 11, and 12 in the next video. Please stay tuned for my next videos. Thanks.